Okay, so while we're setting up the chairs, maybe I could just ask the panelists to come up to the podium to join for the next session. So, Mr. Helaluddin from Bangladesh, Rudra Khanal and Rajan Kadel from Nepal, and two of our ADP HQ colleagues, Arun and Cindy, if you could just come up and then we can get started. Okay, so welcome to the session on specific case studies from the Asia Pacific. We have an interesting panel up here which is a mix of practitioners from the field level in Bangladesh and Nepal, and two of our ADB colleagues working in the HQ with the Central West Asia Department and Southeast Asia Department. In the interest of time, I don't want to go into lengthy introductions, but just very quickly to introduce you to the panel. So we have Mr. Rajan Kadel, Director of Nepal Electricity Authority, Ministry of Energy, Government of Nepal, and Rudra Khanal, Director Alternative Energy Promotion Center, Ministry of Energy, Government of Nepal. Mr. Kadel has been mostly involved in hydropower interventions within his institution, whereas Mr. Rajan Kadel has been heavily involved in a lot of the JC mainstreaming approaches. And if I understand correctly, you are in fact a focal point within your institution for doing JC mainstreaming. We also have with us Cindy and Aruna, both of whom are with the ADB headquarters, looking after two different divisions, Central West and Southeast Asia division. They've been also involved in the energy portfolio in ADB. And last but definitely not least, Mr. Helaluddin, Deputy Chief Power Division, Minister of Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, Government of Bangladesh. He has been working within the government. A lot of his work is involved with the project identification, appraisal, the resource mobilization, allocation, etc. Within the power division. He also has an interest in agriculture and economics. Is one of the areas of his interest. So without further ado, maybe we could just start. I thought the way we could basically organize the session is I'll ask maybe a first round of responses to the question that I'll ask right now, and then we can do a second round, and then if there are any follow-ups, if time permits. So the first round of questions that I thought could be interesting, given the mix of implementers and policy level, given the ADB HQ presence.
Thank you, ma'am. This is me, Rajan Kadel, representing from Nepal. And first of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and appreciate to ADB and Melbourne University for providing such a golden opportunity to share my thoughts in front of you all. We come from Nepal. This question is related to JC, and in one sense, JC can be seen as a method of targeting, but it is much more than that. JC is a mindset, a process, and a set of desired outcome, a way of development with a focus on ensuring that one is left out of development programs and government services that are intended to be universal. Then we have to six projects under the JC as well as SASET project. And Nepal is now facing chronic power shortage. Only 65% of the country's households have access to electricity, comprising 57% to national grid and 8% to off-grid solution. And per capita electricity consumption is only 105 kilowatt hours per year. In this data, the ADB has contributed to solve the energy sector investment through increased electricity transmission, for SASAC project, expanded electricity distribution rehabilitation of 12 distribution substation projects, and enhanced electricity generation rehabilitation of micro plant, as well as consulting services. So, we have to energy-based livelihood development for women in community, rural electrification entity, awareness on the electrical safety, energy efficiency focus on women in excluded group, and under PDD, EEP, JIPR, here will be PG batch, which will support NDA to special JC manual, it is the implementation. Thank you.
So let me share you one example where inclusion is ensured. We have one project, Sindhu Tupala mini hydro project with 200 kilowatts. The total household to be supposed to be electrified is 1396. Out of that, 44 households are human-headed and 546 households are from disadvantaged group. This project is developed as a cooperative and this has been registered in cooperative, and there are 13 members in a board to operate cooperative. Out of 13 members, 4 are female, 5 are from disadvantaged group, and 1 female is vice chair of the board. This project is under construction. Construction is going on. We have another solar wind mini grid project with 35 kilowatts. Total household electrified from this is 85. Out of that, 6 households are women-headed, 79 households are from disadvantaged group. There is a committee to manage this project, to operate this project. 11 members with the committee is there. Out of total numbers, 4 are female, rest of others are from disadvantaged group. And the training is given to them how to operate and maintain the project. Also training on tariff setting is given to them. This is how we have been able to ensure inclusion in 2 projects, since he asked us to share the case. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I start, let me give the context of Central and West Asia. We actually have 3 different sub-regions. We have Central Asia covering 5 countries, and then South Caucasus, we have Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and then Afghanistan and Pakistan. So very diverse countries and very diverse levels of, shall we say, gender mainstreaming, and culturally also and historically. And in these countries, the energy sector has always been predominantly male-dominated. But interestingly, some of the countries like Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan have actually instituted policies that require a certain percentage of high-level officials in the government to be women. So I think that's a breakthrough. And a lot of the countries actually want to learn from that experience, and they want to institute the same in their countries. But when it comes to, I guess, ADB, we still have a lot to learn and to do, in fact. Just to give an example, ADB Institute organized a seminar 2 weeks ago in Japan on future energy systems. Out of 25 speakers, there were only 2 women. So they had them speak first and last. Very good gender balance there. But one of the things that we did to at least have more women participation in conferences such as this one, this is very, very successful in that sense, but Central Asia, we have what we call the CAREC, which is the Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation, and we have meetings with the Energy Coordinating Council like twice a year. And for the past 25 meetings, there were only male participants. And in the 26th meeting, there was only our director, because we had a female director that was female in the delegation. So what the team thought, why don't we ask the CAREC countries to send 3 participants on the condition the 3rd one is female. So this is 11-member countries. So for at least of the 33 participants, you can have at least 11 women. And some of the countries actually did better. They sent all women. And the others also sent more than 3, like 5 women. So I thought that was a good response from our countries. So that's on that specific intervention. On the project level, I think a good example I can provide is Uzbekistan, because we did a comprehensive solar energy development program there, and we started with technical assistances. And one of the things we did, as an element, was to have, we did a solar measurement campaign. So we installed meter stations all over the country, and we ensured that women were the ones who were going to be maintaining and operating these meter stations. They were based in the, it's hydromet, it's a hydrometeorological station. So the women actually stayed there. They did all the readings and the recordings. Of course, most of these are automated, but they were trained to do so. And during their spare time, they were also able to even plant, have some farming around the meteor stations for solar, and they did that for almost 2 years, and they were really, really appreciative of that initiative. The other components of the TA that we did was to ensure that under the capacity development component of the project, they institutionalized, shall we say, as part of the curriculum, for example, all the requirements to develop solar energy, not only from the engineering point of view, but also on the financial, on the safeguards, on social development, and all aspects of energy project development. And of course, that is still ongoing, and we don't have results yet. Other projects that Central and West Asia did are now to install solar rooftops in schools and in clinics to ensure more social inclusiveness, and also train the potential owners and use these installations as part of a training program, so they can actually have hands-on training on the pilots themselves. So that's one of the interventions that we did as well. Maybe I can stop there, but those are some of the ongoing projects that Central and West Asia have instituted.
Good afternoon. I'm going to bring some experience from Southeast Asia projects where my work belongs to. Southeast Asia countries, we have operations include Philippines, Indonesia, and Greater Mekong sub-region countries, which are Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam. The region is rapidly developing. Economic development is very fast, and the demand for energy and other basic infrastructure is ever increasing. One of the unique features in the the countries in the region is the ethnic minority groups living in various parts of each of these countries. For example, if you take Vietnam, there are about 50 distinct ethnic groups are reported in Vietnam. Each of these groups have their own language, the cultural heritages, and way of living. So when it comes to these development projects, it's so challenging to address the social problems during the implementation and during operation. For example, if you take a hydropower plant, which I'm going to talk about, it's more challenging because of the locations in remote mountainous areas. So the key challenge in this kind of projects is to mitigate the destruction and to bring some positive impacts. The project I'm going to talk about is in Vietnam. We financed it and implemented from 2010 to 2014. The project designer is sitting in the audience at the time, After 2 years of operation, I conducted project completion review last year, and the project was rated highly successful due to its implementation process. The project is associated with Sông Bung River in central Vietnam, in a very tranquil, beautiful location. The piece of cake is, in his words, 156 megawatt hydropower plant. The cost of the project is $260 million. The destructive portion of the project is it's a triple category A project in terms of environmental, resettlement, and indigenous people impact. Category A is the highest level of impact according to ADB safeguards policy statement definitions. The impacts included about 2,700 hectares of land submerged due to the reservoir and the discharge waters. 500 families affected, out of which 270 families were relocated. There were 40 women-headed households. What we did to overcome the challenge is the value added by the banks like ADB and other bilateral development agencies is that we bring a comprehensive plan which reflects these impacts and the mitigation measures. In ADB, in this project, we draw some lessons learned from previous projects, one of the projects in Laos, and those lessons, and we prepared a comprehensive document, resettlement and ethnic minority development plan that captures all the impacts and possible mitigation measures. It was done based on consultation and participatory approach. The affected people were the core in preparing the plan, and on top of that, ADB provided a lot of grant financing to prepare and implement and to monitor. And it's done based on our ADB policy, safeguards policy, so that we incorporate all possible measures to improve the livelihoods and to ensure that the efforts are sustainable. So that is one of the good projects, case study. I can further elaborate in case if anybody in the audience interested to know.
Thank you and good afternoon. Thanks to the organizers for the invitation. In Bangladesh, we are implementing one dedicated project where we are considering the gender issue. And other than this dedicated project, we have another project where we have a component to address gender issues. The dedicated project to address the gender issue is, the title is Translating Electricity Supply to Better Livelihood in Rural Bangladesh. And you know that we have an utility to distribute electricity or power in rural Bangladesh, Bangladesh Rural Electrification Board, BREB. And we have a BREB representative, he is the Deputy Project Director, and I work for Ministry of Power in Bangladesh. The basic purpose of this project is to improve the rural livelihood and well-being through electricity connection. And under this project, we will train 2,200 people, where at least 30% will come from female community, and we will try to develop some entrepreneurs, approximately 200 entrepreneurs, providing microcredit. The microcredit the terms of the credit will be grant or loan. It will be decided upon by the government, and we are expecting very soon we will get the final approval from the government. But it remains a policy decision whether this amount will be given to the target beneficiary as a grant or loan. And other than this, we will try to develop some small business opportunities along with giving them some training on some trade courses and skill enhancement training. This will be a project of 2 years and 6 months. And one component is missing in this project, that the impact evaluation is not there. And later on we will try to incorporate an impact evaluation for this project, because we have to see the outcome, how it has impacted and changed the lives of the community through electricity. And other than this project, like I said, that in other projects we have a component to address the gender issues, that is solar irrigation project. In Bangladesh, we have a huge number of irrigation pumps, and those are mostly operated by diesel and a small portion by electricity and on-grid electricity. But we are planning to replace some of these diesel-operated pumps or on-grid electricity pumps with solar-powered electricity. And in that program, we will give priority to the female-headed household. One point to note that Bangladesh is dominantly a patriarchal society, but in some parts of the country we have a matriarchal society. And while designing this project, we requested the consultants employed by ADB to select some of the target area from those matriarchal societal parts. But unfortunately, all the locations have been selected from the plain land. But we hope that sometime we will reach those parts where we will get female-headed household. And this is an interesting project for us. And some points I'd like to mention, that the government has a program for 100% electrification by 2021. That is stated, but we have intensified our efforts so that we can give 100% electrification coverage by 2018, December 2018. And for this, we have undertaken 2 large projects. We call this 100% electrification project. And if it is not possible within this December, it may take another 6 months. But we will not go up to 2021. And after this 100% electrification program, we are expecting that the scenario of the country will be changed, and we have considered the electricity as a growth driver in our development plan explicitly, and we have aligned our development plans and programs along with the SDG documents. Thank you. I can stop here for the time.
Thank you. Okay, so since we just had sort of introductory information on the different types of interventions you're doing, I think, yes.
Thank you. So I think what we could do now, maybe have another round where if you could pick up the somewhat specific of the interventions that you mentioned. For example, I know you mentioned livelihoods, and you mentioned about electrification at the female-headed households, or the schools that Cindy mentioned, or the hydropower project, and one of the, either the JFPR or one of the components of the solar irrigation. And if, in your own words, you could just kind of, depending on the stage that the project is in, if you could just mention the process of actually integrating gender and social inclusion indicators, which might be helpful to the audience to see how you actually integrate those different measures or indicators within the program, either at the design phase or when you're implementing, whichever is relevant to you.
Thank you. In design and implementation phase, in the fall, research को जैसी projects अंदर की है and JFPR, total 2,267 women and marginalized group were trained on basic enterprises training. Then out of which 569 women was trained to skill-based training, such as advanced tailoring, spice grinding, poultry farming, incense making, bamboo muda, stool making, bamboo photo frame, handicraft making, bakery, vegetable farming, beauty parlor and cosmetic enterprises. As well as TA program, 44% of teen women are engaged in women in generating activities. Average 43% increase in income generated. 44.24% of teen women apply to the business development pools loan. Anyway, you are implementing an educative agency, as well as national, local NGOs are in this implementation, and you are providing support. Community rural electrification policy, 90 to 100% contribution to government and community, where 5% of community contribution was provided by JFPR project. General review of the energy sector policies and programs are launched. This is our project status in Nepal. Thank you.
So basically, AEPC, my organization, works in the renewable energy sector. We have subsidy policy. This subsidy policy ensures subsidy, a grant, financial grant for each technology, microhydro, solar, biomass, biogas. In case of community-based technology, we have detailed feasibility study report. That report contains 6 segregated data. Based on that, we provide subsidy if there are women-headed household and household from disadvantaged group. Then we provide additional subsidy based on the household. Subsidy is given on household basis. The second point is we have social mobilization guideline. This guideline is mandatory in case of community-based technology. In case of community-based technology, the user committee needs to be formed, and there should be at least 30% from women and disadvantaged group in a user committee. If there is no women-headed household and disadvantaged group household within a locality, then the project is accepted. Otherwise, without having 30% from women-headed household and disadvantaged group, the report of the project is not accepted. That's how we ensure inclusion from policy mechanism level.
Thank you. In the case of Central and West Asia, with the exception of Pakistan and Afghanistan, our countries are actually 100% electrified. So our interventions are for Central Asia countries in the Caucasus are mostly targeted on, say, government buildings, for example. So this in particular are on schools and on clinics, providing solar heating and electricity through PV. And the main consideration there, and we of course started from the design phase up to implementation to incorporate gender elements. The main issue that we want to consider is sustainability. These countries have little or no solar power generation. There is some capacity in solar home systems, for example. So we want to make sure that there is in place some local or trained local industries or local, say, operators and maintenance to be able to take over the operation and maintenance of these systems once they are installed. At the same time, we also want to create ownership from the owners of the roofs themselves or the clinics or the schools, so that there is some responsibility and accountability in ensuring that the systems actually work. One of the other projects that I forgot to mention is what we call the electricity in a box. We have two technical assistances now that focus on off-grid electrification and actually also leapfrogging technology when it comes to high-tech or renewables. Under the off-grid TA, we are actually providing about 100 kits. This consists of solar panels, electric fans, a TV, and a refrigerator. So these are all DC-based appliances. And so the idea was to pilot them in several locations in the countries and later on replicate. So what we need to ensure there, of course, is that there is a value chain in terms of parts and maintenance and operating the systems, because otherwise they will just be a one-off and then it's all forgotten and they break down. And I think one of the things that we also need to ensure, we may have to do this retroactively, because there was, I guess, it's a general intervention rather than very specific to a country context. We have 10 different contexts, so we should have been able to look at it more specifically based on the needs of these particular communities that we were targeting. And that also goes for the schools, because Central Asia is very different. You need heating, not just electricity. And that is a very big issue when it comes to, say, sizing the PV, and also other interventions such as energy efficiency, which should come first. So those designs and those considerations need to come even before we design the actual technologies that need to be involved.
I can list a few aspects of inclusion of these social aspects into the project I talked by Lago in Vietnam. These key processes made the successful integration of these social aspects into the project. The number one is the meaningful consultation. The consultation process of this project started early on, as early as in 2006, where the project was, the implementation started in 2010. So that was one of the successes, that early consultation process, a meaningful consultation process that we considered in this project. And then the second one is the bottom-up approach in this consultation process and designing the settlement plan and economic development plan, which included gender action plan. It followed the bottom-up approach starting from the affected people. The plan incorporated the desires and concerns of affected people from the very beginning, and it was a continuous, the continuous updating was done in parallel to the project development. And there's another key features in this project, the institutional arrangement, designing, implementation and monitoring. There were several circles of wings of ring-fencing of implementation. The first one is the affected people, supported by local experts, took key roles in preparing and compensation activities. The second thing was the village level. The village level resettlement and development group acted as a direct bridge between the affected people and the authorities who take charge of the compensation. And the third level was the project management board with a lot of training provided by ADB, prepared the plans and continually monitored the implementation. The fourth ring was the district level, where district resettlement and implementation management units reviewed all the documents and they administered compensation and support. Again, the training was provided to them by ADB. And the next level is the few outer circles, including ADB and panel of experts and independent monitoring consultants, oversee the compliance and even including the post-project monitoring was conducted by those few outer circle authorities. And the last but not the least, in this kind of projects, which have this significant impact in these vulnerable areas to where these ethnic minorities and other indigenous people living, a lot of resources are needed. That's one of the values by the banks. We mobilized 3 technical assessments in designing the project and implementing the social and the livelihood improvement activities and monitoring. So this is one of the key aspects. Without appropriate the grants financing, it's very difficult to successfully implement the plans.
Thank you. Before coming to this second round, let me elaborate one issue that I raised during the first round. I talked about impact evaluation, and on this point I would suggest to design the impact evaluation so that we can have an academic evaluation rather than having an administrative or management type of evaluation. And on this issue we will have interaction with ADB people later on. So I request them to keep this in mind so that we can design the framework academic evaluation to assess this project outcome. Now, how the integration of gender issues at the design stage. During design, we have kept provision. We have kept some portion reserved for the women to be selected as a beneficiary. We will undertake, like I said, we will undertake a number of activities. We will provide training on trade courses. We will provide some a business incubation facility, some microcredit or microgrant. And in all these activities, we have kept number of percent, 30 to 50% for the women community. This is done at the design stage. And during implementation, how the women beneficiary will be selected. At sub-district level, we have a representative from Ministry of Women and Children Affairs. There are women development officers. They are also involved to select the beneficiary. They will be a member of selection committee along with the project people. So this is another kind of integration of gender during the selection process. Thank you.